Hello, welcome. Dr. Sushma Singh this side. Today in Unit 14, the working class, let us start our lecture with the topic Working Class, the Indian Scenario. India has a multi-structural economy where a number of pre-capitalist relations of production coexist with capitalist relation of production. Correspondingly, here a differentiated working class structure exists. That is the numerous type of relations of production, consumption and accumulation of surplus combine to produce a variety of forms of the existence of the working class. This is further compounded by the structural feature of the pan-Indian society along with the local conditions. So the composition of working class is affected by the caste, tribe, ethnic origin and the gender-based division of labor between male and female and associated patriarchy. This implies that despite internal structural differences and the relations of production through which working people have been and continue to be, there exists a group of people denoted as working class. Then it becomes pertinent to analyze the growth of working class in India. This is particularly so when one considers two facts. First, in India prior to 19th century, there was vast number of working people not working class. Second, the growth of capitalist mode of production along with the industrialization was imposed by the colonial masters. Now let us move to the next point, growth of working class in India. The modern working class came into being with the rise of capitalist mode of production. This mode of production brought with it the factory type of industry. In other words, the rise of factory system of production and working class happened simultaneously. Conversely, without a factory industry, there can be no working class but only working people. Now the point is traditional Indian economy and encounter with colonists. In India, as mentioned above, till the middle of the 19th century, there were working people but not the working class. In other words, Indian economy was characterized by what Marx termed as small and extremely ancient Indian communities are based on the possession in common land, on the blending of agriculture and handicrafts, and on the unadulterated division of labor which serves wherever a new community is started. The colonial rule and exploitation of British imperialists completely ruined the system of the production of these traditional and self-sufficient societies. Though the process started with victory in the Battle of Plassey in 1757, the process was fastened with forced introduction of British capital, wherein the old economy system and division of labor was completely shattered. The surplus generated through the old system fell into the hands of the colonists, who then started direct plundering and exporting of the wealth of India to England. Simultaneously, the English capitalists felt the need of marketing in India the industrial product of England. Hence, from 1813 onward, the doors of free trade with India was opened, not only for the East India Company but for the other British companies also. This was coupled with the imposition of a heavy import duty ranging from 70 to 80% on the cost of imported Indian textile and silk products in England. The combined result of these was that Indian economy suffered doubly. That is, not only was the textile industry ruined, but also the artisans were forced to starve. The same scenario existed in the Indian metallurgical and other industries. Moreover, Indian raw material was an indispensable item for the development of British manufacturing industry. Hence, colonists followed the trading policy whereby they not only flooded the Indian market with British industrial products but maintained the constant supply of Indian raw materials and agricultural products to England. In a word, as Sukhmal Sen puts, India was transformed into an agrarian and raw material adjunct of capitalist Britain, simultaneously preserving feudal methods of exploitation. The result of this process was that Indian craftsmen were forced out from their age-long profession. The ancient integrating elements of the unity of industrial and agricultural production unique in the traditional economy was shattered, and the structure of Indian society disintegrated. Now let us move to the next point, the formative period. The forced intrusion of British capital in India devastated the old economy but did not transplant it by forces of modern capital economy. So the traditional cottage industry and weavers famed for their skill through the centuries were robbed of their means of livelihood and were uprooted throughout the India. This loss of the old world with new gains led to extreme impoverishment of the people. The millions of ruined artisans and craftsmen, spinners, weavers, potters, smelters, and smiths from the towns and the village alike had no alternative but to crowd into agriculture, leading to deadly pressure on the land. Subsequently, with the introduction of railways and sporadic growth of some industries, a section of these very people at the lowest rung of Indian society who had been plodding through the immense suffering and impoverishment in village life entered the modern industries as workers. The first generation of factory workers, it appears, came from this distressed and dispossessed section, the village people. In the word of Buchanan, the factory working group surely comes from the hungry half of the agricultural population, indeed almost wholly from the hungriest quarter or eighth of it. The Factory Commission of 1890 reports that most of the factory workers in the jute, cotton, bone and paper mills, sugar works, gun and shell factories belong to the lower caste, like Bagdi, Teli, Mochi, Kaibata, Bhairangi and Samakara. They also belong to the caste of the Tanti or weavers. In coal mines, the largest single group was the Buris, a caste of very low social rank, the majority of whom were under royals or landless laborers. The next largest group in coal mines was Bur of Santhals, a tribe of crude agriculturalists. The remaining section of miners were recruited from similar group and also from the displaced laborers and menials from villages. Among the immigrants, laborers in the coal fields such as castes as Pasis, Lodz, Kurmis, Ahirs, Koris, Chamars, and lower caste Muslims were also there. However, other studies point out a different pattern of migration of workers from the village. The early working class was not poorest of the poor. Buchanan's views were based on deduction. The studies of Manis and Chakravarti show that the lowest caste did not join the industries. Kalpana Ram's ready study of mine workers also shows something similar. There were two reasons for this. The wages were very low and it was not possible for the poor to migrate to the city with their families and work in the factories. It would be difficult to maintain a family on low wages. Hence, both Monis and Ram note that initially middle castes, those with some land, migrated. Their families stayed behind and the workers would send small amounts of money to supplement the family earning or subsistence from land. Dalits or lower caste did not migrate or they could not migrate as they were required to do the unclean activities in the village. Secondly, being landless, they could not subsist on those mirage earnings. Migration of lower caste took place later due to two reasons. The factories faced labor shortage, hence wages were increased. Secondly, there was pressure from the British government on the village community to allow untouchables to migrate outside the village. This view expressed earlier in this unit is Buchanan's and also Max Weber's, who had written that industrialization in India attracted the low castes and the dregs of society. Here we want to close this lecture. Thanks for listening.